Hello students, welcome to a lesson through the virtual training center of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher, and in this lockdown period, since we are not able to go to school, children, we will be doing many lessons here online through the virtual class. So come on, let's proceed to our lesson for today.
So today children, we will be moving on and will be looking at the next lesson in our EVS textbooks. So if you have your EVS textbooks with you, please open them and come to page number 33. We are going to learn many interesting things today in this particular lesson. And the name of the lesson for today will be Getting to Know the Place We Live In. Alright? So some of us, we go to our villages during our vacation. Isn't it? Most of us now, we live in the city. We live in Mumbai city. So we cannot say that we live in villages, but we do go to our village during our vacation. Isn't it? Some of us, we live in towns, and the others, we live in the city. So when you are living in a town, or when you are living in a village, or when you are living in a city, what is it that you need to know about the place? Alright? Now, like I told you, that when we are living in a particular place, there are certain things about that particular place which is very, very famous. So when we talk about Mumbai, there are many important things in Mumbai which are very, very famous. We have the Taj Mahal Hotel in Mumbai. We have the Great Way of India in Mumbai. We have the Bandra Worli Sea Link in Mumbai, isn't it? So today, in today's lesson, we are going to talk about the town, the city that we live in, and how these places are famous and why they are famous, okay? And how should we preserve our town and our city. But before going there, before trying to see why our town is famous and what are the famous things in our city, we will try and understand how these cities were formed. Okay? But before that, there is a very nice exercise, a word puzzle in your textbook. So let us try and solve that word puzzle, and then we will move on. Now we do not have too much time, children, okay? So that is the reason I will show you the names of the places, and then we will try and see whether we are able to locate them on this grid. So we will learn the names of some new places also. So let us see which is the first place here. So we have Pune. All of us have heard about Pune. It is a city which is very, very close to Mumbai. So this is Pune here. Okay. Then we have Kolhapur. Now when we talk about Kolhapur, we remember Jaggery there. We remember the very famous temple, Mahalakshmi temple of Kolhapur. So say here is Kolhapur. Okay. And then we have Latur. See? Latur here. Alright, let's see the name of our next city, Thane. So now Thane is also a city which is very close to Mumbai. It borders Mumbai. Alright, and then let's see what our next city is. So we have Satara as a city. Here it is, Satara. And then we have Pen. Here it is, Pen. Okay, so these are the various cities. See, one more is there, Nashik. Where is Nashik here on the grid? Here it is. And if you try and search, you might see many other cities also. You will be able to find out the names of at least 3 or 4 other cities or places also. Okay, children. So these are some cities in our state of Maharashtra. Now first, before going and finding out why these places become famous, let us try and see why such cities or why such towns or villages came into existence in the first place. Let us try and understand about the history of these towns and these villages. So let us learn how towns were formed. So can you see, this is you can't call it a city, it is an image of a town. Now what is a town? A town is bigger than a village, but it is smaller than a city. Okay, so let us try and see how these towns or how these villages even, or how the cities were formed. So we are going to see a very interesting story about how man progressed, and he was in the beginning a nomad. Okay, so humans were nomadic in nature. Now, who are nomads, children? Nomads are people who go from one place to another. They do not have any permanent house, or they do not have any permanent place where they stay. Okay, they move on, they keep moving from one place to another in search of food, in search of, you can say, clothing, in search of shelter. So in one place, when it starts raining, they move to a place where there is no rain. Alright, so human beings, all of us, we were all nomads once upon a time. Alright, from there, and we were hunter-gatherers. Who were we? We were hunter-gatherers. That is, we did not know to grow anything. We just hunted and we killed small animals and we gathered whatever we could find lying around in the surrounding. So you can see here mangoes and fruits falling from the tree, and we used to simply gather these and we used to eat it and fill our stomach. So we were hunter-gatherers. Can you see? You can see this image showing both of the things, hunting as well as gathering. So we as human beings in the beginning, we did not have a permanent place to live in. We even did not have a permanent one kind of food which we used to cultivate and eat. We used to eat whatever we found around us. From there we slowly developed and we started doing farming. Okay, we learned how to grow our own crops, because it was not always possible to get food. Sometimes when there was nothing available to eat and there were no animals also to hunt around, then we realized that no, this will not do. We will have to learn how to grow our own food, and so we decided to do some farming. And now you all know, children, that when you're doing farming, you require so many things for it. See, so man slowly started farming, and then they slowly started settling down also. So can you see here, they have some houses, all right, and they are farming. You can see a man and a woman cutting some grass or something. And you will also notice a very, very important thing. They chose to settle near places where water was available to them. So wherever there used to be water for drinking, like there was a river or there was a pond or a lake or something, they used to try and settle around those places. So slowly and slowly he started settling down and settlements were formed. See here, and how the settlements started growing also. Alright, there you could see a few small huts, and now here there are better houses. And you will also see they started not only doing agriculture, but they also started farming animals, that is animal husbandry also they started doing. Now when you farm, children, and then they started settling like this, okay, many such small settlements, they merged together to form villages or towns. So there were two small villages, they came together and they merged together, and then there was this big town there over here. So this is how slowly and slowly settlements develop. So we are talking about cities in this lesson. We are talking about the places that we live in. So it is very necessary for us to know how these places came into existence, isn't it? Now you will see that man started needing implements for farming. Okay, he started needing this kind of hoe, and he started needing all these different instruments for farming. So he started making all the instruments himself. Some of them he started making it himself, but then he realized that it was not possible for him to make all the things that he needed. So he would make his farming instruments and he would farm, but what about the clothes that he had to wear? What about the ornaments that he had to wear? What about the utensils that he needed to cook? So who would make all this? So slowly and slowly people started doing different types of work. Okay, some of them started saying, okay, he's farming, so let me do some weaving. Weaving is making cloth. Some others started saying, let me start making some jewelry. Okay, see, she's making jewelry out of beads. She's making necklaces, earrings, etc. Alright, so this is how slowly people started doing different kind of occupations. See, some of them said he's farming, she's making earrings, and she's making cloth. So come on now, let me make some pots and pans for the people. Okay, so potters came into being, and then now we needed different kind of implements. So for that we needed iron also. So now the blacksmith started becoming famous. Okay, there was this person who said, no, I will learn how to make these things and I will do only this work, I will not do farming. So slowly and slowly the different kind of occupations started developing, and then the villages also started becoming self-sufficient. See, people started doing different kinds of work. Okay, and then the villages started becoming self-sufficient. Self-sufficient means everything that they needed to live was available in their village. So this is how children, cities and villages, they came to exist. Now let us see why some of these places became famous. Okay, so let me show you some pictures here. I'm sure all of us know about this place and we have visited this place also. Now, which is this place? This is the very famous place in Mumbai, and that is the Gateway of India. Isn't it? All of us have gone here, and we have all done some boating also probably. I don't know whether all of us have done boating, but surely we have gone and we have seen this place. It is not only we, but people from all over India and even people from abroad, foreign countries, who come to see this place. Isn't it? So this is the Gateway of India. Let me show you one very famous place in our city once again. This is the Dargah of Haji Ali. This is also a very famous place. So when I showed you these two pictures, that is this one and this one, what city did you remember, or which city came to your mind immediately? Yes, it is our very own dear city of Mumbai, isn't it? So when we say Mumbai, we remember all these things. We remember the Mahalakshmi temple, we remember the Haji Ali, we remember the church at Mahim, isn't it? And the bandstand at Bandra and the Bandra Valley ceiling. So there are so many things which make our city famous, Mumbai. Now just like Mumbai, there are many other places also which are famous because of the temples there, because of the caves there. Okay, you must have gone to, or you must have at least heard about Ajanta and Ellora caves, or the Elephanta caves, which are closer to Mumbai. So when you say Ajanta Ellora, what is it famous for? It is famous for the caves in that place. Okay, some places are famous for the mosques, some places are famous for churches, isn't it? So a city or a town is known by many of the historical things present there, or because of the monuments present there. Now see, this is a very beautiful statue of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. So there are some places which are famous because of these memorials, isn't it? See, some places are famous for the forts. So you go to a particular place like Murud Janjira, you will be able to see such beautiful forts, and there are forts in Raigad district also. So some places are famous for the forts, some places are famous for museums, isn't it? And then when you go to see some places, you realize that all these places are historically very important. These places or these objects or these monuments, they help us to understand our history. Okay, so what should we do? They are very famous for us, that means they are very valuable for us. Okay, now these buildings also, they are our treasure. Treasure means there's something which is very valuable for us. Now when you have something very valuable at home, what do? You try to keep it safe, isn't it? You try to see that no one takes it away from you. You try to see that no one damages it. So in the same way, all these historical objects, these buildings, etc., they are our treasure. Treasure means something which is very valuable. Okay, so we should all try to protect these things and also try to keep them safe. So what will you do? How will you try to protect these kind of places? For example, when we go to see a fort or when we go to see a temple, we sometimes see people writing on the walls of these forts using stone. Sometimes we see people throwing rubbish here and there. Okay, we see people spitting, we see people making the place dirty. When you see such a thing, what should you do? You should immediately tell them, my teacher has taught me in standard 3rd EVS that protecting these historical objects is my responsibility. So you should very gently but very firmly tell them that they should not do things like this. So protecting all these historical things, historical objects, monuments, temples, mosques, all this is our responsibility. Okay, children? So, see, there is this Raigad fort, and Raigad district is very famous for the Raigad fort. Alright? Now you will see that some places are even named after some very great personalities. Now this place also, all of us Mumbaikars, we know this place very well, isn't it? So this is the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminus railway station. Now this railway station is named after the greatest king of India, that is Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Alright. Now there are many other places also dedicated to the memory of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. So see, there is this place called near Talegaon. There is this place called Talegaon. Now why is this place called Talegaon? Because Shivaji Maharaj had stopped near Talegaon and he had set up a camp there or a base there. In Marathi it is called as Tad, and therefore the name of this place became Talegaon. Alright children, so today we learnt about how villages, how towns, how cities are formed, okay, why they come up, how they become self-sufficient, and how some of these places become very famous because of certain monuments, because of certain buildings in these places. Now these monuments, these buildings are historically very important. They help us to learn about history. Okay, so they are considered as our treasure. And when something is a treasure, what should be done to it? We should all try to keep it safe. So that is the message which I gave you, that whenever you see anyone misbehaving at these places or trying to make these places dirty, you should immediately and firmly and gently tell them that what they are doing is wrong.
Okay children, so now that we know so many things about how settlements develop and what are the reasons for settlements that they have developed in this manner, and then how they become famous, that is a place may be known by its buildings, or it may be known by the mosques or the temples, caves, memorials, etc. We also talked about how we should treasure these places. Okay, and in the end, what did I tell you? That if you see someone destroying or disturbing these things, what should you do? Yes, you should be very firm with them. You should be gentle, but you should be firm. Now children, there are some more interesting things in this book about people and places. So we are going to see now about some important people and how the places where they lived became important because of them. So let us go to the first part here, where we talk about the World Heritage Day. Let us first discuss this and then we will go to the people. Okay, so now there is this very important point in your book which tells us that 18th of April is celebrated as the World Heritage Day all over the world. Okay, so what is the importance of this day? Now see, you have so many days, isn't it? You have Teachers Day, and then you have Mother's Day, you have Father's Day. So what does it mean? What is the meaning of Mother's Day, children? Mother's Day is a day when you say thanks to your mother. Okay, you recognize the work that she has done for you. But does it mean that you do not love your mother on other days? No, but Mother's Day is significant because it makes us realize how important our mothers are for us in our life. So in the same way, even though 18th of April is World Heritage Day, even on the other days, that is the other 364 days, also you're supposed to care and you're supposed to protect all the heritage sites around you. Now what will you do on a World Heritage Day? You should try to visit a fort or a national monument, and you should try to learn more about its importance. So what you can do? You can collect pictures, you can collect information. Okay, and also you can make a small photo album kind of a thing. So this is what you can do on World Heritage Day. Now you can see certain important places of World Heritage over here. Okay, you can see a fort, you can see the India Gate, you can see the Taj Mahal. So on a World Heritage Day, now we are in the middle of a pandemic, children. Now this year it might not be possible for us to do it, but try and visit a fort or a national monument which is very close to your place on World Heritage Day. Okay, see, there are so many historical buildings, there are so many monuments, old vadas are there. Vadas means they could be places where people have lived thousands of years ago, so you can try and visit them. And also what you can do is you should try to collect information about people who know more about these things. Now sometimes these places become famous because of certain people also. So like I told you, children, in the next part of the lesson we are going to talk about such people who made the place where they were born very famous, and the places are now remembered because of these people. So the first person that we are going to talk about is Shivram Hari Rajguru. Now he was a very important revolutionary in India's struggle for freedom. So we have all heard about these three important revolutionaries who gave up their life for their country. That is Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev. So Rajguru was one of them. Okay, and now he was born in this place called as Khed in Pune district. So this is the map of Maharashtra, children, for you. A small map of Maharashtra you can see. In the map of Maharashtra here, Pune district is mapped for you, and then in Pune district we have this place called as Khed. Okay, so he was born in Khed in Pune district. Afterwards, of course, after he finished his schooling, he moved on to other places. That is, he went to Amravati, and there he attended a Vyayam Shala, or he attended a place where these people who do kushti, okay, they practice, and there he understood the importance of patriotism. There he learned that he has to do something for his motherland, and that is how he went on to become a revolutionary. And from there he went to Banaras also to study Sanskrit. Okay, he knew many different languages, like he knew Marathi, he knew Sanskrit, he knew Hindi, Urdu, etc. And now he is known but for the place where he was born. So in his memory, Khed, which was his birthplace, has been renamed as Rajguru Nagar. So you see, even though he went and he traveled all over India, he did so many good things for the country, but he still remembered by the place where he was born. And the place where he was born is also has been renamed as Rajguru Nagar. So he still remembered. So whenever people talk about Khed, whenever people talk about Rajguru Nagar, automatically people remember Shivram Hari Rajguru. So this is one important personality that we talked about. Let us talk about one more important personality which has been mentioned in your textbook. So we have this famous person called Sant Gadge Maharaj. Now he was called as Gadge Maharaj because he used to put a open, you can say a broken earthen pot he used to use like a cap, and he used to always seen walking around with these earthen pots which were broken. Okay, so that is why, and an earthen pot is called as a Gadge in Marathi. That is why he was called as Sant Gadge Maharaj. But his real name was Debuji Zingaraji Janokar. This was his real name. But we call him popularly, he is known as Santa Gadge Maharaj or Santa Gadge Baba, people call him. Now what did he do? You can say he raised social awareness through kirtans. So he performed kirtans. What are kirtans? Kirtans are nothing like religious songs. They are like religious songs, okay? And they are, you can call them bhajans also. So kirtans are religious songs. So he used to sing kirtans, and he used to spread awareness among the people. And when he used to sing these kirtans, he used to ask people questions, and he used to answer those questions himself only. For example, he used to ask people, why are we poor? Why are you people poor? And then he himself used to say that we are poor because we are not educated. So remember, children, what is the only key to progress in life? If you want to do well in life, what is the only thing that you can do? the only thing you can do is study. Okay, educate yourself. That is what Gadge Baba appealed to the people. He appealed to them to get educated. Now, Gadge Baba was also born in this very small place called as Shendgaon. It is also called as Shendgaon, and it is a place in the Daryapur Taluka of the Amravati district. So you see, you can see a map of the Amravati district, and in there you will see the small taluka called as Daryapur. Now, Sant Gadge Baba was born in a place called Shendgaon in Daryapur. So his village, now children, is forever remembered as the place where Sant Gadge Baba was born, and he is known as one of the greatest saints of the 20th century. Now, who are saints? Saints are those people who have transformed the lives of people, who have influenced people in such a way that their lives became better. Okay, saints are not only people who talk about God or you teach us about the teachings of God. Saints are also those people who help us to improve our life, who help us to enlighten ourselves. Okay, so this is about the few important people who are mentioned in your textbook and who are remembered by the names of their villages, or their villages are remembered because of them. Now, there is one more very interesting point, children, in your lesson. Now, certain places, they become famous because of the people. For example, we saw Khed became famous because of Rajguru, and Daryapur Taluka became famous because of Sant Gadge Maharaj. But there are some other very extremely important or interesting reasons why certain places become famous. Now, what can you see here on your screen? You can see so many donkeys. Take a closer look. All of them are donkeys. So what are all these donkeys doing here? Now, this is nothing but this is a donkey market. So have you ever heard of a donkey market, children? I'm sure some of you who are who have gone to their village and who know about how life in a village is must be knowing about donkey markets. But otherwise, many of us who live in cities, we have never heard of such things. Okay, we only know about malls, and we know about big shopping malls, and we know about places like D-Marts, and we know about places like big bazaars, but we do not know of a donkey market. See one more image of a donkey market. So there are certain places, children, which are famous for these donkey markets. For example, there is a place called Jejuri in Pune, there is a place called Madhi in Ahmednagar, and also there is a place called Malegaon in Nanded district, which is very famous for its donkey and horse markets. So even for such reasons, places become famous. Then you will see that places become famous for its food also. So see, this is a cow gully. Now what is cow? Cow in Marathi means food. So see, this is a cow gully. So what is the meaning of cow gully? Cow gully means a gully or a lane where you get food of all different types. So can you see how people are enjoying here? And there are so many stalls. So certain places, they become famous because of the food also. So you can see an example of cow gully here. Okay. Now there is one very important point which is there in your lesson. It is about weekly markets. So now children, what are weekly markets? Now like I told you, life for people who are living in cities and life for people who are living in villages are very different. In cities, you have these permanent markets. Okay, you have malls, you have big bazaars, you have D-Marts, which are permanent. You can go any day and you can buy things which are of need to you. Your daily essentials you can buy from there. But if you look at a village, children, there these kind of markets don't exist. Then how do these people buy their vegetables? How do they buy their food? How do they buy their clothes? So for these people, you have these weekly markets where they can go and they can buy things which they require for the entire week. So there is a fixed day, that is for a village it might be Tuesday, for another village it might be Wednesday. So they have these markets. They will get all the things that they require in these markets. For example, you can buy food grains, you can buy vegetables, you can buy farming implements also. Like for example, if you have to do some kind of farming and then you don't have the implements, or your implements have, you can say they've been spoiled or they are under repair, you can buy that also. You can also buy clothes, you can buy shoes, chappals, everything. So whatever you think of, whatever you need to live, you can buy from these weekly markets. So let's take a look at one more weekly market here. See, you can see all the things closely here, isn't it? You can see onions, you can see garlic, and there are toothpaste kept there, oil, you have soap, you have grains, clothes. So see, whatever you think of, you can buy from these weekly markets. Alright, now let us end the lesson by looking at this particular picture from your textbook, and then there is a small task also for you to do. So what are you supposed to do, children? You're supposed to visit a weekly market if possible. Alright, see to it that you are careful. Now we are in the middle of a pandemic. Try to visit a market and try to meet a few shopkeepers there and take an interview, that is, ask certain questions. So what will you ask? Ask him, how many years have you been in this occupation? That is, for how many years are you selling this kind of clothes or vegetables or fruits in the weekly market? You can ask him. You can also ask him, what items do they sell? Okay, you can ask the shopkeeper from where they get these items. And then also a very, very important question, you can ask them, what means of transport do you use in order to carry the goods? Okay, now they must be using different means of transport. For example, see here, you can see people or a person on a bullock cart, then you can also see a truck or a tempo, you can see a bus. So you will get an idea about how these weekly markets work. Okay, children, so wasn't that a very, very interesting lesson? So this was lesson number 6 from your EVS textbook, getting to know the place we live in. Now after you watch the video, I have a few tasks for you. So let me tell you what the tasks are. So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form, children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learnt a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.